Alright guys, BG coming to you on a Monday evening. As always, hope everyone is doing well. Right, today I have had the opportunity to watch episode 1 and 2 of the All Access for Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Now, regular viewers will know that I've struggled to get 100% pumped for this fight because really it's kind of hard to see it as in any way a competitive contest. I appreciate it's a great event. I appreciate it's a great WWE occasion that's linked to our sport, but it's kind of hard to really get hyped for seeing the two guys in the ring. So I sat down open-minded to these two All Access episodes, hoping that they'd get me hyped for the fight and get me a bit more pumped for it, because I am the kind of boxing fan who does enjoy the WWE style antics outside of the ring, as long as they are within reason. I am someone who is sometimes susceptible to getting carried away with the hype, so I kind of hope that watching these programs and getting that exposure to Floyd and Conor McGregor would always build a fight in my mind and get me more and more excited for it. So we started with episode 1, and I've got to say, I was really disappointed by episode 1. I haven't actually seen any other YouTube channels cover, a review of All Access, so I'm sure other people have said the same things as me. But when I look at these All Access programs, what do I want to see? I want to see something that we haven't seen before. I want this to be a behind-the-scenes look, giving us a first opportunity glance at life that we don't normally see. Perhaps that's footage from training camp, perhaps that's interviews with the fighters, perhaps it's sparring footage or training footage, perhaps it's behind the scenes camera work from their previous fights. I don't know, but I'm looking to sit down and get a different look at these fighters, a different look at the fight, and something that I haven't necessarily already got from my normal browsing of YouTube when I'm looking at big fights. Episode 1 disappointed dramatically. It's about 22 minutes long. The first 8 minutes relives the first Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor press conference. Now, that's not necessarily a bad press conference, but all of us who are hardcore boxing fans will likely have seen that before. If you're the sort of person who wants to sit through a 20-minute all-access program, likely you will have already sat through the first press conference. So really, the first 8 minutes of this is just the highlights of the first press conference. Finally, after 8 minutes, it breaks and you get some behind-the-scenes looks, and you're thinking, okay, maybe they're just trying to build a fight and we'll get some real programming and some actual content here. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen, because after about 30 seconds, we go straight in to the second press conference, which is then covered for a further 3 or 4 minutes. I'm afraid the theme continues. Really, episode 1 of All Access, I mean, I hope I'm not being too harsh here, but episode 1 of All Access for me seems to be highlights of the various press conferences that have already taken place, which is all well and good to an extent, but you're not seeing anything new. If you're like me and you've watched this to try and get a viewpoint of some of the unseen stuff, some of the stuff that is going on behind the scenes, I'm afraid you're going to be bitterly disappointed. I need a drink to calm the nerves after watching it. So yeah, I was disappointed by episode 1, but I usually like these all access type programs, so I thought, nevertheless, let me stick with it and watch episode 2. My reasoning was that if episode 1 has covered all the press conferences, episode 2 there's no more press conferences to watch, so hopefully we're going to get something a bit different. But yet again, I was disappointed, I'm afraid. So the program starts with Floyd Mayweather taking a backpack, pulling out blocks of $100 notes and throwing them on a table. Don't you kind of feel like we've been here before? Don't you kind of feel like we've seen this in previous fights? Is this anything new? Is this anything that's getting your pulse racing? Not for me, I must say. There's a lot more coverage of Floyd. We see him doing yoga. We see him talking about his new strip club business. We see him talking about the IRS. We see him in Miami playing basketball with his son, going skating with his daughter. Floyd looks into the camera and he tells you that Floyd Mayweather doesn't need a training regime. Floyd Mayweather does what he wants. He's taking a 5-day holiday in Miami. He's taking a break from the training camp. He doesn't need to be doing that training camp. He's past that now. You know, Floyd Mayweather selling this fight. How many times I've seen this? This was covered in the press conferences. This came up again in episode 2. Floyd Mayweather looking into the camera and telling you, I'm not the same fighter I used to be. I'm not as good as I used to be when he's younger. You know, we see fights built up by the opponent being made out to be better than they actually are. You know, that happens time and time again. You know, you'll see Joshua versus Brazil, and Eddie Hearn will tell you how good a fighter Brazil is, and how big he is, and how he was an Olympian, and how he's got power. And I was, of course, expecting him to sell Conor McGregor, sell how he's a southpaw, sell how he's a younger guy, sell how he's a bigger guy, sell how he's perceived to have power. But the way they're trying to sell this fight is actually by saying that Floyd is no longer any good. They're actually trying to sell you this fight on the basis that Floyd Mayweather isn't the same fighter he used to be. Floyd Mayweather's past it. Floyd Mayweather's old over the hill. You know, and Floyd's compounding that by telling you that he doesn't need a training regime. Maybe he wants the lead up to Bellew versus Hay, where David Hay was on a yacht and not taking training seriously. That's kind of the impression Floyd is trying to portray in episode 2, with his strip club, with his yoga, with his skating, with his basketball, with his 5-day holiday mid-camp. Floyd is kind of saying here, not only am I old, not only am I past it, I'm also kind of only half in this game, really. And that's the way they're trying to build a fight. And that kind of tells you all you need to know if you're asking yourself, is this a competitive fight? They are literally trying to suggest that Floyd is not taking the fight seriously, and trying to suggest that Floyd is over the hill in order to give even the illusion of competitiveness. Now, anyone who's been seeing the kind of physical condition that Floyd Mayweather is in for this fight can be quite clear that Floyd is taking this very seriously. For any man of any age, let alone a man in his 40s, to be in that good a physical condition tells you that he is truly dedicating himself to some form of intense physical training. So let's not buy into the hype for 1 second. Let's not buy into the hype that Floyd is living a permanent vacation, or that Floyd is spending all his time in the strip club, because Floyd is clearly 100% dedicated and 100% devoted to training and to this fight. Of course he is. We know he's been devoted and he's been a hard trainer throughout the course of his career. We've never seen Floyd Mayweather do a Ricky Hatton and, you know, turn up 2 or 3 stone overweight to a training camp, and he's not going to start doing that now. I've seen photos. I saw Ego did a video on Floyd's weight the other day, and Floyd is in truly tremendous conditioning. So this is fake hype for me for the fight, that Floyd is past it and Floyd is over the hill. As for the Conor McGregor side of this programming, it's really bizarre. The program for me seems to directly contradict itself. So you have a scene of Conor McGregor's hometown, and you have conversation about when Conor McGregor joined a boxing gym as a child, and how he worked out in a boxing gym, and how boxing is kind of in his blood. You know, how his childhood experience as a boxer make him a relevant player in this fight. So you've got that one image that Conor McGregor's been boxing from a young age. Conor McGregor really knows what he's doing here. At the same time, the program clearly portrays Conor McGregor trying on boxing gloves and, you know, getting used to what it's actually like to have such different gloves. You have Joe Cortez, the Hall of Fame boxing referee, entering Conor McGregor's camp and telling him that he needs to do a cleaner job in terms of sparring. I think Joe Cortez actually says we need a better job today than we did the other night, Conor. You know, clearly Cortez is telling Conor rules about when you knock someone down, go to the neutral corner. When I tell you to brake, you're not allowed to hit on the brake. It just seemed directly contradictory to me. On one hand, you've got Conor McGregor boxing since birth, knows his way around the sport. On the other hand, you've got Conor McGregor needing to be explained what a boxing glove is, and needing to be explained you're not allowed to punch on the brake, and you're not allowed to follow an opponent in after you've knocked them down. You know, it seems really, really bizarre. But the general theme of the programming you're looking for here is that Floyd is past it. Floyd isn't taking this seriously. Conor McGregor's got boxing in his blood. He knows his way around the ring, and he's coming to cause chaos. You know, and it's all. Of course, these programs are meant to hype and are meant to build intrigue to a fight, and I'm all supportive of that. As I said at the start of this video, I like a bit of a WWE build-up, but This is taking it too far. You know, for me, the suggestion that Conor McGregor is some sort of boxing in his blood type character, and the fact that Floyd Mayweather isn't taking the fight seriously. Anyone who's followed boxing for any length of time, you know, it might sucker in the UFC fans, but anyone who follows boxing for a long length of time, it's too far. It's too unrealistic to actually make the fight more interesting and to actually generate hype, because it's clearly, you know, so far from the truth. With about 7 minutes to go, Paulie Malignaggi rocks up to episode 2. And you're thinking, finally, okay, this could be interesting. Did we get any sparring footage? Unfortunately not. Did we get, you know, anything of that nature? Not really. We did have interviews with Paulie and with Conor following on from the sparring. Paulie said that Conor hits hard. He said that Conor knows what he's doing. He actually said something to the effect of, he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, but he does know what he's doing. And Paulie said that Conor McGregor does try and set traps, but he sets the same trap over and over again, and a guy like Floyd is going to react to that. Conor McGregor, you know, I know this has caused a lot of controversy, I know this has made the headlines, said that Paulie got his arse whooped. He put out a photo, Tyson Fury-esque, of fighting Paulie Malignaggi with his hands behind his back. As you guys know, a subsequent photo has been released of Paulie Malignaggi on the canvas, supposedly after Conor wrestled him to the floor or something of that nature. You know, that kind of generates a bit of interest. Conor McGregor in that scene says that he heard Paulie Malignaggi bad-mouthing him, and he wanted to invite Paulie into camp just to fight him. You know, Paulie's got some similarities to Floyd, he's got some differences to Floyd, but Conor didn't care. Conor just wanted Paulie to come out because he wanted to fight him and he wanted to teach him a lesson, and he gave him a big arse whooping. You know, I'm not sure who I believe, Conor or Paulie. I'm probably more inclined to believe Paulie Malignaggi, because Malignaggi's an older guy. You know, he's got miles on the clock. He's retired from the sport, and he probably is past his best. But Paulie Malignaggi is a two-time world champion. He's a very, very experienced fighter. He's a capable defensive fighter. And I find it hard to believe that he got his arse whooped and handed to him in the way that Conor McGregor is alluding to. But, you know, we may never know, because I think it's unlikely that footage is ever going to be released. So, there we are. I guess that bit at the end was the bit that was of most intrigue, is that Paulie Malignaggi segment. Obviously, because it's relevant sparring, and it kind of tells us potentially the level Conor would be at, and also because of the headlines it's made. So, look, in summary, episode 2 was a lot better than episode 1. Episode 1, it literally offers nothing new. You know, I'm a boxing nut. You know, I live for this kind of stuff. But really, my advice to you was to be that if you've seen the press conferences, you'd be as well off to give episode 1 a miss. As for episode 2, it's worth watching if you've got a spare half an hour. But, you know, be prepared to hear how unseriously Floyd is taking this fight, and how you know, McGregor's been boxing since he could walk and that sort of stuff. The Paulie Malignaggi segment, yeah, there's probably room for further discussion there. Will I be watching episode 3? Probably. But I'll tell you what, and this is honest truth, I'm looking to book a holiday August, September time, and I was discussing like dates today, like when to go off, and I got the weekend of this fight proposed to me, and do you know what, I'll be honest, you know, I said, go ahead, book it for that weekend, because for me, it's a fight that, don't get me wrong, I'll watch it on YouTube or I'll catch up with it, but it's just not one for me where I feel I'm going to set my alarm for 4 in the morning and roll out of bed and, you know, get really pumped for it. So I'd be happy to watch this one at a later date. We're 3 weeks away from the fight, and you know, there was talk about Cleverly versus Badou Jack being announced. As far as I'm aware, that fight is yet to be announced, yet to be confirmed. So there's not much of an undercard here. I know Gervonta Davis is potentially on the undercard, but it's just very hard from a pure boxing perspective to see this as in any way competitive. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I've rambled on for too long here. Drop me your comments in the section below. What did you make of this programming? Am I being harsh? Did you learn anything new from it? Leave a comment in the space below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new or you haven't done so before, please hit subscribe so you can check out all of my other videos. As always, many thanks for tuning in.